Hi, my name is Suniti, and welcome to a practice where we will stay pretty low to the ground and we'll invite in a quality of rest and a quality of spaciousness. I'd like to use a bolster today, so I'm sitting up on a bolster. If you have one, it's great. If you don't, you can use a pillow or a cushion. You could also take a bed pillow and then wrap a towel around it. And sometimes that creates a nice firmness and shape for you to rest on. Okay, so I'd like to start seated. And I'm sitting up on my bolster so that my hips are a little higher than my knees. And I'm able to feel some movement in my pelvic bowl, which is allowing my sense to have it's allowing my spine to have some freedom. Here we are, a moment to find ourselves. So notice where you are here in your space. Here, touching this ground. Drop into your experience. What is here for you to feel at this moment? And with your next exhale, rock your pelvis back and begin to round your spine. As you inhale, rock your pelvis forward to elongate the front of your spine. Exhale, rocking back to lengthen the back of your spine. Inhale, rock forward to lengthen the front body. So with your next exhale, exhale at the mouth like an ah sound on the breath. And inhale, making an O shape with the mouth. Inhaling, and find the length of the front of your spine. Exhale at the mouth, ah. Inhale through the mouth with an O shape. A couple more times. Fall into your own rhythm. Be carried by your breath. And on your next inhale, come up to neutral spine. Lift your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, tip to your right. Bring your right hand down, left fingertips up and over. Root down into your right hand to then yawn your left side waist, allowing for space to come in between your ribs and your pelvis. And on your next inhale, rising back up. As you exhale, left hand down, right fingertips up and over. And again, feeling your hand touching the floor and letting there be weight. So you're rooting down to then yawn or open or lengthen your whole side waist. On an inhale, travel back up and begin to tip your pelvis forward and then walk your hands forward, placing your hands on the floor. It might be that hands on the floor is enough, might be that you could walk down to your forearms. And feel the weight of your arms and let the weight of your arms inspire a movement back through your pelvis. And then we'll gently walk back up and simply switch what leg is in front. As you're ready, inhale, arms up towards the sky. Exhale, left hand down, right fingertips up and over. Your hand meeting the floor inspires an opening to the side waist. On your next inhale breath, traveling back up through center, and then exhale, right hand down, left fingertips up and over. And then again, your hand touching the floor inspires an opening to the side waist. And releasing. We'll transition onto our seats. Oh, we forgot something. We want to fold forward there. So tipping your pelvis forward and allowing for your hands to come down. Or I should say I forgot something. And maybe lowering down to your forearms. And let's slowly start to come back up. And now we'll transition to the floor to have a seat, and you'll bring your bolster behind you so that it can line your spine. So for many of us, when we lower back, it's really supportive of our necks to have a little lift behind your head. So I'm going to take a blanket and put it at the top there. So when you come back, you'll want a little bit of space between the bolster and your sacrum. And then you'll start to come back, bringing your back onto your bolster, and then perhaps adjusting your blanket so your head can be a little bit higher. Here, we're hoping for our forehead to be a little higher than our chin. So I'm going to have my feet on the floor and my knees bent. It just feels a little more supportive for my low back today. But if you like, you could extend your legs out long. Bring your attention to your breath. Be with the experience of the inhale and the exhale. So coming into the feeling of breathing, the experience of breathing. Now bring a little more attention to the space between each breath. So feel the moment where your inhale becomes your exhale. And when does your exhale turn to become your inhale? Be with the space between without anticipating it. So each breath we can arrive for the experience, for the fullness. Meeting breath and movement in present time. And following the breath to the turnings. A place where an inhale turns to become an exhale. The place where the exhale turns towards an inhale. And now as you're with your breath, bring attention to your ribs. Notice how your ribs move with your breath. And there's certainly the movement of the front body, expanding and condensing. And then also notice the movement of your back body, the movement of your ribs in relationship to your cushion or bolster. Being with movement and being with the ground. Where is there support in this moment? Where is the support for you? Is there support in gravity? Or support in this touch with the ground? Does your breath feel like support? Is there support in this movement? The movement because you're breathing. And wherever you are finding the support, consider receiving the support or feel into the receiving of the support. With the feeling of having plenty of time, slowly roll to your side. So you'll roll off of your bolster, just a moment there, and then root down into your hand to come up. And take your, if you had a blanket there, move your blanket off to the side and turn to have your bolster now in front of you. And we're going to just reverse. So now we'll lay down on the bolster, bringing your sternum towards the top of the bolster so that your head can rest, maybe to your hands or on the floor. You'll want to find just a little bit of adjustment so that this can work nicely for you. So I'm finding for today that my hands stacked, one on top of the other, and then my forehead resting on my hands is the most comfortable. You might find that having your forehead on the floor and your hands out towards the sides is where it's at for you today. Just kind of feeling into what's most nourishing. So now just in kind of not saying the obvious here, but in that last shape, we had our backs on the bolster and our fronts facing up towards the sky. And so now we've just reversed it. And notice that. So now what is it like to make contact to the ground with the front body and find support and receive support? And noticing what it is like to breathe and notice the ribs. Notice the space between each rib. How does the space between the ribs move when you breathe? And there's your ribs facing up towards the sky, your ribs touching the bolster. Experiment with feeling the movement through and around your whole body. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press yourself back towards a child's pose. So for this child's pose, I am going to move my bolster to the side. Sometimes people like to lay their chests on the bolster. So either way is fine. I'm going to rest on the floor. And again, notice space between your ribs moving as you breathe. Feeling into where support is. And then receiving that support. Travel forward to all fours. And we'll begin to move through our spine through some cat-cows. With an exhale out the mouth, an ah around your spine. Then inhale with an O shape in the mouth. We'll lengthen the front of the spine. An ah to exhale. An O to inhale. Ah to exhale. And a couple more times like that on your own. Dropping into your rhythm. And push through your hands as you're ready to have a seat on your heels. Interlace your hands, reach your palms up towards the sky for Parvatasana arms. Bring attention to your breath again and notice the movement of your ribs. And experiment with letting your ribs move away from your pelvis. And then bend your elbows and change the interlace of your hands. Reach your palms up again. And again, noticing the space here between each rib, moving as you breathe. Even the back side having some movement. And then experimenting with noticing the space between your ribs and your pelvis. And then it's like you're giving the ribs a little more room to rise. And gently release. Come back down onto your back, this time with your back resting on the floor. And open up your feet so they're wider than your outer hips. And let your knees travel towards one another. A few breaths here. Reach your fingertips up towards the sky and hold on to opposite elbows. And let's inhale, and on an exhale, send your elbows towards the left and then let both knees travel towards the right. And so here I'm on the pinky toe side of my right foot and my big toe side of my left foot. And we keep our feet pretty far apart and just let the knees travel to the side. And the elbows are heavy and they're traveling to the side. Inhale, come back through center. And exhale, send your elbows to the right and your knees to the left. And now we'll try this with one breath per movement. So we inhale, travel through center. And exhale, knees to the right, elbows to the left. Inhale, travel through center. Exhale, knees to the left, elbows to the right. Inhale, knees and elbows up. And exhale, knees right, elbows left. And so a few more times like that, finding your own rhythm and settling back into the space between the breath. The space between your ribs. The space between your pelvis and ribs. And let's travel back through center once you're balanced between the two sides, and hug your knees into your chest. And let your knees open up nice and wide. And find a happy baby pose. Feel, so you're holding onto your ankles or your feet, but then feel the weight of your arms and find the weight of your shoulder blades. And it might feel nice to find a little rock side to side. And let's come back with the feet touching. So you'll bring your legs towards, or your feet rather, towards one another to hold on to your ankles or your feet for Souptapadakonasana. So while holding on to your ankles, you might find some length coming through your upper shoulders and sides of your neck. And gently bring your knees together and send your feet and your hands up towards the sky to roll through your joints, the joints of your ankles and wrists, of your feet and hands, of your elbows and knees, and of your hips and shoulders. So you're gesturing into space and saying hello to the space between your bones, where your bones are talking through fluid and through ligaments. And then again, hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side. Moment to pause here. Again, feeling into where is the support? And receiving support. Push down into your hand to come up to your seat. And have a seat up on something again so you're comfortable. And bring the soles of your feet together. Allow your knees to open up wide. So here we are in the Baddha Konasana again. Bring your hands back behind you onto your cushion or bolster onto the floor, and explore a little back bend or a little opening here to the whole front body. And notice the space between your ribs and your pelvis. Notice the movement of your ribs as you breathe. And then tilting your pelvis forward to come forward. And you can bring your hands to your feet, or you could bring your hands to the floor. And if your pelvis is tipped forward enough, it might be interesting for you to fold forward, in which case you can start to then notice the space between your ribs and your pelvis through the back. Again, breathing and noticing movement and noticing turnings, the space between each breath. And slowly start to walk yourself up. Bring your hands to your outer knees to bring your knees together. And open up your feet a bit so you're making your way towards a version of a squat. You're welcome to keep your hands up like this, or if you like, you could bring your hands towards the floor. And then gently release your pelvis back onto your cushion and find a comfortable cross-legged position with your legs. Send your arms out to the side, reaching down through your fingertips. Bring your chin down towards your chest and roll your head to the right, allowing for more length to come into the whole left side of your neck. Allow for just a little bit of movement through your head, so you're changing the stretch sensation, all the while allowing for breath and movement, support. And release your chin down towards your chest to find the other side. So rolling your head to the left, breathing into the side of your neck. Where is there support? Receiving support. Noticing movement. Finding some space. And then release that. Bring your chin down towards your chest. And roll up, finding neutral spine. We'll pause here for a couple of minutes. If you would prefer laying down in Shavasana, feel free. A couple of minutes. Let it be easy. Rest in open attention. So you don't have to track anything or hold anything, but simply resting in moment-to-moment experience. And if you've been laying down, feel free to come on up if you'd like to close together. Again, just another couple of breaths to fall into rest. Receive rest, receive support. And bring your hands together in front of your heart, feeling your two hands touch. A moment here to make a wish for your body and your practice. Make a wish for the people that you love. Make a wish for the earth and for our non-human brothers and sisters, relatives. And let's seal our practice with a bow. Bowing in and coming up. Then imagine that you were holding all of those wishes in your hands and then just like spread it out. Letting your hands go up and out and down. Touching the earth. Thank you for sharing in practice today. Thank you.